going to talk about dementia. We're not going to
Yeah,
go to that part. All right.
exactly. That could be going off on me right there. So, top. I wanted to go over our top app count producers this past week. We got Dustin Hensley with 6 applications, Jeffrey Miller 6 applications, Val Zarn 7 applications, Jordan Gillum 7 applications, Elijah Carujo 9 applications, and guys, already #1 on our APV, also #1 on our app count. DJ Robinson 10 more applications this past week. Like I said, folks, brand new agent going out and killing it in bonus leads in California and Virginia. Way to go. Top groups this past week. Want to recognize our top groups over 10,000 this past week. Me and Miss Tina Freeman's Base Shop, outside of all of our key leaders, 10,539 this past week. We've got Mr. Mark Neubauer at 16,305 this past week. His organization, we go Neubauer Organization. Elijah Carujo Reynolds Organization, 18,621 in premium this past week. And we got the Gillums, Jordan and Jared, 19,505 this past week as an organization. Way to go, guys. Super week by the Gillum organization, #1 on our leaderboards at 19,505 for them this past week. Hey, Ryan, they're key leader, and I think they're right on the cusp of qualifying for agency owner. So we're really excited for the Gillums. STPs, Ryan, I don't know if you guys use that terminology. It's something I learned at the old company, but I call it share the plan or show the plan. I love recognizing people going out there and sharing the plan with other people. And so we got Barry Davis, myself, Jared Gillum, all sharing the plan more than 10, 20 times a week right here. Proud of everybody reaching those leaderboards. New contracts, we love that because that's people joining our organization, people hiring people and building their own business for them and their family. Jeffrey Miller with a contract this past week. Me and Miss Tina had 2 more contracts this past week. Val Zarn, 2 more contracts this past week. Dustin Hensley with 3, and Jared Gillum with 3 new contracts this past week. 11 more contracts as an organization. Way to go, guys. Love seeing everybody out there building their business. Also, friendly reminder, guys, we have the new agent call tomorrow. I'm going to be hosting the new agent call this week. It's going to be a special time. We're going to start it at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you guys will make an adjustment, we've got our yearly thankful dinner we do with our staff here at our office tomorrow, and we're taking them out to lunch. We're going to do that a little bit early so we can take everybody out here at the office to lunch. So anyway, guys, we're going to do that at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be hosting the new agent call tomorrow. So if you're a new agent or you're in your first 6 weeks or you just want to get refreshed, join on that call. You're going to be able to ask me any questions you want at the end of it. And hopefully we're going to add a lot of value to you guys tomorrow on that. Also, new writers in our organization. If I destroy your name, I apologize, but I'm going to do my best to pronounce it. So Andy Zinkovich, I think I nailed this one, Tina. I think I nailed it. Andy Zinkovich, brand new unique writer, part of the Gillum organization, and also Danny Anderson, which I knew I could pronounce that one okay. Way to go, Danny. Danny, our #1 new writer for the week. Check this out, Ryan. #1 new writer, 5,930 in premium volume this past week, part of the Gillum organization as well. So Gillum organization had 2 brand new unique writers this past week. And you know what, Ryan? It's funny. You were just talking to our leadership, and really, you see the Gillums are growing. Well, it's something they started doing 90 days ago. Does that make sense? It was like all this work that you're starting to see. It was 90 days ago that they went in and invested in their business, put 50 job ads on ZipRecruiter and just went to work, right? Results didn't happen that minute, but you're starting to really see the results pour out over time. So proud of the Gillum organization. Very proud of you guys out there getting it done, and everybody. Welcome aboard, Danny and Andy. It's going to be a beautiful journey if you make it a beautiful journey. So, hey, guys, we have a guy that has made this a beautiful journey here on our call today, and we are so honored. We've got Ryan Miller, and I'm gonna tee this up for you guys, just so you know who this person is on our call today. It's pretty special. I'm honored because I watched him first speak on the national stage. I guess it was probably early 2016, I think, Ryan, that I saw you speak at a national conference. And I was like, I don't know who that dude is, but I know I like him already. You ever just saw somebody, it's like, man, that dude is special. And he just, I don't know, it just something, you've always been a kindred spirit. I think the first time I ever met you, it was just like I had another brother. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things, man. And it was so special seeing you. But listen to this, guys. Listen to this guy's record since he's been here at Symmetry. He started Symmetry Financial February of 2015, unlicensed, went to his first conference. I think, were you was it a ZipRecruiter ad, Craigslist ad? What'd you answer? Craigslist ad. So you answered a Craigslist ad, which is pretty awesome. Somebody was sharp enough to put that ad out there, right? My buddy Rob Puckett. Hey, he got his license after going to that conference in March of 2015. In 2015, his organization did $660,000 in premium from March to the end of the year. Pretty impressive. He did $4.7 million in 2016. Fast forward to 2017, $8 million is what his organization did. Fast forward to 2018, $12.9 million is what their organization did. You're talking about not only making an impact just for his family, but now so many other people he's making an impact in each week. And then that led to last year, $14.8 million in 2019, has 120 contracted people. I said that wrong. 120% contract people direct to him. That means he's helped 3 people get to the top contract of the company. How amazing is that, guys? And that's direct to him. He was the Blue Jacket Award winner in 2016. Reason that's special to me, that's the most special award given out to Symmetry Financial because it's the fastest growing person in the organization that year. And guys, he's been one of the fastest growing people out in Symmetry the whole entire time. He's helped 25 people get to agency owner. He also has 11 key leaders in his organization. Just awesome stuff. Listen to this. You know, we always talk about the impact that you make in people's lives. And, you know, Ryan Miller could have started here a few years ago and he could have just went out and personally produced, right? But instead, he started to share the plan with a bunch of people. Well, by sharing the plan, you know, probably at our best, Brian, we're probably 5 or 10 apps a week type of agents, right? You know what I mean? And that's if we make it.
That's a lot. That was a lot for me.
Right?
Way
right.
A lot for me, yeah.
And we're impacting a few people's lives. But check this out. 12,798 total applications as of last week, year to date. So if he had just kept it just with him, the impact is low. But that's over 12,000 families, guys, that his organization has impacted this year. For $13,744,000 in million APV. They just set their all-time record month in the month of October, 1.7 million in premium in 1 month. And he's also an advisory board member, equity partner of Symmetry Financial. Guys, I'm just going to clear the stage and let Ryan Miller speak into your life. I'm telling you, I've taken notes at conferences. I've got to meet him in person, got to hang out with him in person, and one of my favorite people in all of Symmetry Financial. So very blessed to have you on the call today, buddy. And guys, he even took time. He's on vacation with his family, and I didn't even know it when I asked him. He didn't even mention it, but he is on vacation with his family, so he's taking time out of that. So we greatly appreciate you taking a few minutes with our team today, buddy, and just honored to have you on the call, man.
All right. Well, man, first of all, thank you for that introduction, man. You know, what's interesting is I look at anybody that gets any kind of promotion or any kind of levels of leadership, that I always think it's not them. It's always that represents the impact that they have for their people. So they always talk about like, go out there and hire somebody better than you. Chris, I definitely feel like I found a lot of those people because I was a hot mess. So talking about, listen, I just want to say thank you so much. I have so much gratitude when somebody asks me on these calls because, man, 5.5 years ago, man, it looked bleak. And we're going to talk about that. But, talking about, again, for those of you guys who don't know me, Ryan Miller, I'm direct to Symmetry, but I'm under the Rob Puckett, Marshall Whalen hierarchy. Chris, you and I were talking a couple of days ago. Yeah, we're actually at our family lake house, which is interesting to me because we were talking about like the vision, right? Like what's the vision of Symmetry look like and like how amazing it would be at this standpoint right now and like why build an organization in that part. So guys, for those of you that don't know me, over 5.5 years ago, I spent 19 years in corporate America. I spent every waking day with my brothers up into the last few years. I saw my brothers every single day. Listen, saying goodbye to my brothers, Chris, was like, hey, man, see you tomorrow. Like, that's how close we all worked in one building, and building and remodeling corporate America. And every time we moved as a family. My dad was that old school New Yorker that used to, bake pizzas, and it was just so good. But guess what? All of a sudden my mindset goes into, hey, I want more. And it went down the material direction. And what happened is this building couldn't afford all of our salaries. So what ended up happening? We all decided to move, Chris, every single one of us. We all over the country. We decided to own franchises, all different spots. Well, guess what? The result of that was bad relationships. Two of my brothers talk once a year. And here's where it all stopped is, I had a 30,000 square foot building in Fresno, California. I had 60 employees, and I missed every phone call. Like, my parents were my afterthought. My brothers were my afterthought. I was too busy worrying about what was in front of me to even think about family. And if you guys ever heard the term, at some point, money can cost too much. So when I think about vision of symmetry, this is going to connect well. Because for me, broken, when my dad was out walking with my brother in Plano, Texas, he tripped, he fell, he broke a rib, punctured his lung, and my dad died 5 days later. Let me tell you something. I watched my dad take his last breath. I watched my mom have the strength to sit there and rub his head, talking about why he's such an amazing husband and been an amazing father. One of my brothers were so broken that when that happened, he had to fly back and work because my dad was up walking around fine, and he had to hear my dad's last breath on a phone call. You want to talk about serious? You guys want to talk about pain? Put your dad in the ground. And then sit there and talking about every shovel my brothers were taking dirt on my dad's casket, talking about regret. Regret? I regretted not answering his phone calls, not seeing him his last leader. I can't get that time back, Chris. I can't. So I made a change. I was tired of exchanging time for money, Chris. I was so tired of working so hard, and it had to be attached to my feet, that I could never experience what was most important to me, which is my family. And so when I saw this Craigslist ad, it talked about helping families. And the irony of it was, my mom, stay-at-home mom, 4 boys, never worked, had COPD emphysema, had $500 in her account, right? And both cars were in my dad's name. We had to figure out how much money we were going to give my mom. And our industry was actually going from a brick and mortar to online. So we're like franchise owners. We were pulling the hair out of her head. I'm past that, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, completely. And I'm sitting here, and my wife found this accidental death policy in a garbage bag, Chris. And it was a $150,000 policy for my mom. And I saw that before I ever saw the Craigslist ad. And the reason why I mention this, because I was tired of exchanging time and money, and I knew I wanted something different. So I knew I had to give up something old to get something new. So I stopped it. Guys, I closed my franchise. It was the hardest thing in the world. I felt really bad. I moved back to Arizona. And do you know what I did before I saw that Craigslist ad? Before I saw the Craigslist ad, I lived on credit cards and savings. Guess what? To the point before I started Symmetry, I was $100,000 in debt. I had $26 in my account. I had every credit card maxed, and I just got done walking into the room where my wife's crying, and she doesn't think we're going to make it. Now, Chris, I know, like, when your spouse is talking about you don't think you're going to make it, and you're thinking to yourself, your job is to provide for the family. I took out a car payday loan to get to that conference. That was much of a chance I took, because I wasn't a guy that jumped careers, Chris. I was a guy I jumped in. I didn't dip my toe in the water. I jumped in. Wherever I was going is where I was hooking I was hooking. Because the thing about a river, guys, is either you're going to flow up and down with the river, but you better be anchored to something. And your anchor that you need to something better be your why. Why are you guys doing this? We talk about the vision of Symmetry. Why are you people on the phone doing this? Because it's going to get tough. No, I've never seen anyone accidentally land on top of a mountain. John Maxwell talks about retirement's death. Okay. You guys want on what's on the other side of this, of all this work? Are you guys maybe thinking you're in the worst storm of your life? But what if I told you that you're in the worst storm, but you're actually in between 2 miracles and you don't even know it? So, like, this thing right here, we talk about vision. And I know I'm going to talk about mindset because it's a big part of it. But when I talk about vision, when I look at Symmetry, what Symmetry's done, because when I first came in, Chris, it wasn't like, I can't wait to build an agency. I just can't wait to get back to zero.
Right.
I mean, it was so far away from me that, so my perspective on what the quote unquote vision was a little bit cloudy for me. But I had to have trust in you guys, Chris. My first conference, I saw you doing a meeting that said it was final expense. And I remember sitting there, and I didn't bring my spouse. Worst mistake ever. So your spouse is, my spouse never missed one again. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Chris and I'm like, dude, I like this guy. I was like, he just straight up chill. He talks about how it's real. And I was so used to shirt and tie and stuffiness and perfection and like such a competitive field I was in, that it wasn't about impacting, helping people. It was about keeping stuff to yourself, not sharing, keeping everything to the chest. And you know what? I was so used to that. I was waiting for the shoe to drop, and I'm watching Chris up there. I'm like, dude, that guy's real. That guy's real. And you know what? Real was important to me because of where I was. So when you guys start off with this vision, I want to know what your perspective is. Like, what gets you up in the morning? When you guys have a cancellation, or you guys can't, and you have problems dialing, and you feel like it's a bad batch of leads, what keeps you going when times are bad? Because let me tell you something, guys, and I always say this, luck does not exist. This is super important. Luck does not exist. Okay. When I look at luck, I think luck is preparation meets opportunity. So if you look at the top leaders and you want to know why those guys are so lucky, or your new writers that you're seeing on Gilliam's team, and you realize, God, he's getting lucky a lot. He obviously, his preparation opportunity, guys, listen, opportunity is just not going to land on your lap. It's usually a whisper right behind your ear. So when I think about vision, let me tell you something. There is no better time than right now. Like, this is like the gold rush, because I think about technology, Chris. Like, I think you were there in the days when you guys had to mail, like snail mail stuff, right? And I don't want to talk for people that are all tech. I can't believe how far behind the insurance companies are on technology. And corporate office is getting ahead of the curve compared to any other company. Any other company. You're going to have this technology platform that's going to be able to track all your business on a daily basis. They're pulling all these portals together, so it's like a one-touch process. You're going to be able to manage your business. And let me tell you, that sits on the foundation of everything. So what's crazy is where this company is going. I got in this company at $50 million. And you know what my first question was, Chris? I wonder if I'm too late. Is anyone on the phone asking that right now? Am I too late? Did I miss it? The biggest earner isn't even here yet. The biggest impact player is not even here yet. Chris, the growth is not from you and me. That's not where the growth is going to come from. It's going to come from you guys on the phone. It's going to be that when times get tough and you're sitting there, and if I told you right now, today, that 2 years from today, you guys are going to run into something that was going to absolutely floor you. I don't know what that was. Let me tell you what it was for me. I got into Symmetry because of Chris, leaders like you, what the owners did when people weren't looking. Like, you could tell that they were about people. So the vision of the company always been about taking care of people. So guess what happened to me, guys? My wife and I spent 10 years. Chris, don't worry about time. We're gonna go. I'm good at time if you guys are good.
I like it, buddy.
All right, you're good. All right,
You give us what you got, buddy.
All right,
We'll take it off.
I'm gonna keep pouring, and you stop me if I get going, because I get revved up about this. So 10 years, 10. So listen, guys, my wife and I we spent 10 years trying to have a baby, guys. 10 years, 10 years. Difficult. Anyone that's ever had difficulty trying to have a baby, where I felt like my wife's friends, no matter what, everyone, including people that didn't even want to have more kids, had more kids, and we were like that couple. So we went through a lot. We finally had a baby girl. 1 month after the baby girl's born, my mom is jumping around each of our houses every 3 months because my dad died, right? So my mom doesn't really have a place to live. And so 1 month after my baby's born, my mom gets diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and has a year to live. What if I told you that right then and there, because of the work, the vision of the grind that I put in for 2 years, if you would have told me years down the way that my mom was going to be diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and we had to walk in and she got all the wrong insurances, and the admin person pulls us and said, listen, you need, you bad insurance. We need $5,000 every chemo treatment. That's your portion. And what if I told you that's every 3 weeks and you need 15 weeks of it? What if I told you that we were able to pay it? What if I told you right now, if you guys knew 2 years from today, your vision, when you look at what the vision of the company is going to look like, what if I told you 2 years from today, something drastic is going to happen? Are you in the position today to lean on the system of symmetry? Because let me tell you something. If it wasn't for the work, if it wasn't for the team, if it wasn't for the impact, if it wasn't for the leadership before me, I wouldn't be sitting in my mom's lake house. So you know what we did for my mom on the other side? We bought a lake house. That's where we're at. And we spent 3 months. She's getting into 2 years now, Chris, 2 years. We spent 3 straight months, my entire family, all my brothers in one house. We haven't been like that since we were kids. And every morning my mom gets to get a cup of coffee with us. Every morning. And I don't know if you could put a price tag on that. So when I look about vision, this is going to connect to my second part here, mindset, perspective. You're going to talk to me about all the reasons why it doesn't work. Some people on the line are going to talk about going through struggles, and your perspective is, this is all happening to me. It's not. This is all happening for me. When my dad died, I hated everything, hated God, hated family, hated everybody. But I realized when that door closed, he did that for me. Because if he never did that, if that door never, I wouldn't have helped 15,000 families last year. And I wouldn't have impacted so many leaders on our calls with so many leaders that are impacting their lives. So when we talk about mindset, guys, it's talking about perspective. Or do you feel like you're being attacked all the time? Are you the person attacking? You got to chase something. Your mindset. This is big. If you're brand new on the call, I hope you start your day with filling your cup. I hope you start your day the very first thing of the day. That doesn't mean we're getting kids ready. It doesn't mean that means you need to get up a little earlier, and you can't pour into somebody if you have an empty cup. It's not possible. So when I in this business, I made sure that my mindset, guys, you're talking to an advocate guy that hated reading, Chris, hated reading. Like read, that was like back in like high school. All right. So like when Marshall's telling me you need to read, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll read. Audio book. He's like, that's not reading. I'm like, damn it. So like, I'm like, okay, all right, read. And so I'm like, all right, how about if I baby step? I'm gonna give you guys an action step, baby step. Everyone that's on the call, if you got to start with self-development, guys, you got to watch a 15-minute motivational video. Every morning I watch it still today. 15-minute motivational video just to get my mind flowing. Because guys, your mind is a garden. If you want to plant new things, we got to get rid of the weeds. Okay, you got to get rid of the weeds. And the thing about it is, it helps you if you're building a team to be at this perspective where anything can come to me now, Chris, and I got a force field like you would not believe. It bounces. So watch your self-talk. So I always talk about this. Your thoughts, be careful of your thoughts because they become words. Be careful of your words because they become actions. Be careful of your actions because they become habits. And habits is where it's about, because habits become character. So when I talk about mindset, Slight Edge, Jeff Olson was my first book. If you're building an agency, The 5 Voices by Jeremy Kupacek, amazing book talking about dealing with and helping conversations. Because you know what I found, Chris? I found out I wasn't arguing with I felt like I was arguing with everybody. I was like, why is everyone arguing with me? No, I just didn't understand what they were saying. We were saying the same thing. So it's not arguments, it's usually misunderstandings. So when I talk about like my mindset towards this business, it has completely, utterly changed the face of the business. Because when I came in here, my first goal was to impact my brothers, a new place called home. Every one of my brothers are in Symmetry. Every one of them have growing and thriving agencies. My brother Dan just hit his $1 million agency for the year, Chris. Super excited about that.
That's
so like
awesome.
when your brothers and family succeed, I get excited about it. So I got these little wins. It is not in the home runs. This is important. Don't focus on the result. Focus on the base hits. Here's my base hits. Now I'm developing 2 hours a day. I get up at 4 a.m. I develop until 6. I lived in Arizona. I live in Arizona. So I'm building a team out east. What do you think that looks like in the morning? 8 o'clock in the morning, Miranda Martin calling me, which is 5 in the morning my time. Boy, I better have my head on straight or it's going to be a real bad version of me. So like I got my mindset straight and it helped me with the perspective of this company. It helped me when times were challenging. If you're sitting in this seat right now and you're stagnant, if you're sitting here going, you know what, I'm comfortable. Guys, if you're comfortable, you're stagnant. I don't see comfortable in growth because growth means discipline and grind. And so like this part, my mindset, I went from 15-minute video to reading a book, 10 pages, just 10 pages, Chris. It's all I did. And here's the big accountability part, guys. Okay. So this is an action step for you guys, accountability. If you're on this call every week by Base Shop, this is what they send me. They send me their stats on Sunday. This is what they do. They give me the stats of kind of like the activity tracker, what they did for dials, what they did for appointments, shows, and APV. Now, you ready? What went well for the week? What didn't go well for the week? And what we want to work and what we need to work on for the following week. Why? You guys, you can't approach this business like you're going to a firing range at night and you have no idea where the bullseye is. Okay? You got to have something to hit or something to aim for. You have to. So like my mindset was so concrete because when I started developing, here's what happened, Chris. This is what happened to me. My conversations with my uplines changed. Chris, have you ever had one of these? Have you ever had one of your, whether it's a leader or an agent, call you and be like, let me tell you about all the things I don't like. I don't like this, it's this, and it's all outward. There's no sense of ownership and they just spewing. And they're like, hey, listen, hey, I'm going up with it. I'm not going down. I'm talking to my leaders. This is what I'm supposed to do. All of a sudden you self-develop. All of a sudden you get that miracle morning. That 5-minute Hell Rod talks about you got 5 minutes to get it out, 5 minutes. And then you got to turn it around. How are you going to use that? You got to change it from a backpack of liabilities to a backpack of fuel. You guys got to look at your mindset. Like I just realized every single day I'm growing myself. I'm growing my leaders. I'm impacting the company. And Chris, one of my things are I don't say no to phone calls. When I say no to phone calls, Chris, you called me. I'm on vacation. And I'm like, Chris is like, you want to do my call? Yep. Yes, I do. Because I heard that the more I impact other people get what they want, it comes tenfold back. And so mindset, guys, is everything. It's the glue to everything. So you go from mindset to actual action. So my conversations with Rob goes from, man, let me tell you what's going on with these leads. These leads are horrible. But let me ask you, am I looking at this wrong? Like, Chris, what's your perspective on this? Do you see how all of a sudden I'm changing it where I'm allowing Chris to pour into me? Because if you're new on this call and you think just because your prior success that you're going to have this straight shot to the top, you're wrong. All with all those numbers that I showed you, there was months of stagnation. There was months of inaction. Guys, listen, perfection lies. This is a big one. Perfection lies within imperfection. Perfection lies within imperfection. Family is not perfect. But guess what? Can you quit on family, Chris?
No, sir.
My brother's not going to quit on me. So family, so listen, this communication, that's self-development. Are you somebody when you get on this call, like when that phone call comes in, you got to ask yourself this question. Oh boy. Like when they look at that name come across, are they looking at this going, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to answer that," because they're worrying about how you're going to affect their mindset. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter what calls I take, but I'd much rather talk to somebody that's happy. I'd much rather talk to somebody that is looking at experience and life perspective of vision where the company's going and mental mindset on where we're going to take this thing and realize that I owe a great gratitude. I owe some debt to you, Chris, because if you didn't do what you guys did and you didn't have the fortitude and the fact that you're still at it, I wouldn't be here. Because in the very beginning, when there's 5 of you guys or 10 of you guys in a room, I don't know if I'd be here. Right? Because my perspective at that time was broken. My perspective as this is what I think this company is going to provide. Let me tell you something. You need to grab a hold of the people that are on fire. So the people that are new on this call, you see somebody writing really well every week. You see somebody plugging in the calls every week. You see leadership growing. That's why they always talk about talk to your growing upline. They say it all the time. So like this is mindset is everything because it now all of a sudden when something negative comes in, I can change your perspective. Here's a perfect example. Now I'm going to, for you engineers out there, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I had a brand new agent call me and it was yesterday and they were so upset about their results. I said, what are your results? And they said, listen, I mean, just, it was horrible, horrible. I saw 9 people and I helped the one family. I'm like, all right, you saw 9 people, you only helped one family. Okay. What did you do in that one house? 4 apps for 5,000.
Yeah.
So Chris, all of a sudden I go, wait a minute. So you actually had 4 applications out of 9 presentations. So is your close rate really that low? And they go, yeah, you're right. So just with a 5-minute phone call, with people like you, Chris, with leaders on the team that are further down that path, if you realize that you're sitting in your own head because you're not developing, and you can't grow a team without developing, guys. Your team's only going to go as big as you are. If you do that and you communicate with your upline and you just open yourself up, everything I'm telling you guys, Chris has told me and the people before me has told me, I'm not giving you anything new. So just follow the system. So Chris, I know that was a big one. All right, so turn your failure into an outcome. All right, this is a big one. 10 most dangerous words you can ever hear. Ready? 10 most the most dangerous words that you can ever hear. Okay? What people say about you and what people think about you. What people say about you and what people think about you. That is going to knock you out of the business if you let it. If you don't realize what your self-worth is, guys, sitting on this call, and realize the other side of all this work, on the other side of all these dials, on the other side of all the build, on the other side of going from income to transitioning to impact. Like, if you just realize that those 2 things don't matter to me, what matters to me is you got to find whatever matters to you the most. And what matters to me the most is spending time with my daughter in the morning. Right, Chris? Like when I walk out of the room, my daughter cries for me. Why? She knows me. Guys, listen, my daughter, I always wanted a family, always. And my daughter knows me. So I take those principles of mindset, I take those principles of action. And I say action, you go from mindset to get out of mentally overthinking this whole thing and realize you got to start. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step. You got to create something. You need to have activity. And you got to have compressed activity. Chris, I'm not going to do 15 appointments, 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday. I'd rather have 5 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, I'd rather have that. Why? Because now I'm protecting my mindset. If one doesn't show, Chris, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I can roll right back into 4 more appointments. I know somebody's going to show. So you guys got to be able to change your mind, and you guys have to change the way you feel about things. Don't change the way you feel about it. It's almost like resources, Chris, on the phone work, right? What's funny is somebody goes, man, I bought 50 leads. I got a hold of, it was crazy. They got 50 leads. I'll just throw this out there. I know this is hard. 50 leads. They got a hold of 40. They booked 20. That's awesome. And they go, you know what? I got 10 more leads. I don't know if I should buy more leads. And I'm like, well, hold on. Even if you had 100 leads and you only reached 50 and you booked 50% of that, now you got 25 appointments. The next week, now you have the balance of the 50, right? Now you're gonna try to book. Listen, you got a downward trend. You guys have to have resources every single week. I don't miss. I don't sit there and go, I'm just going to call my old leads. If you think show rate is going to increase over time, you're sadly mistaken. It's going to decrease. And if you think less communication with your uplines better, sadly wrong. Success is going to depend on Chris and the leaders in the Cook agency to help you get through the tough times. Chris, some of the other things that you and I were talking about is equity appreciation, right? I know we're over, but
no, you're great, buddy.
All right, okay, all right. You guys sure? Hopefully everyone's still good.
No, I'm taking notes, man.
All right. So listen, I have all my resources. This includes, before we get to equity appreciation rate, this includes building. If I spend $1,000 a month in production, I'm going to work my way up to $1,000 a month in recruiting, because I know that I got to fill those 2 boxes, right, Chris? I need to show the plan. Here's the big thing for you guys on showing the plan. Don't think you know what's best for somebody else. I made over $100,000 and I was broke on time. I was the guy on vacations where, you ever seen those people on vacation, Chris, where one spouse is having fun with the kids and the other spouse is doing one of these because they're not at work. And if they're not there, your feet stops, and so does the income. I was only good for 15 to 22 policies a month. I wasn't a massive producer. So I knew that I need to help somebody else achieve their success. And somebody told me, gotta have the resources. No worries. So the work I did in resources, I wasn't expecting immediate result. Production is for the now money. Recruiting, what you do today, is for the tomorrow money. And when I say tomorrow money, production, building a team doesn't happen overnight, because people need to develop over time. It's like a slow cooker, crock pot. And the thing about it is, my projection on recruiting was just this. So guys, I have 7 people direct to my agency. I have 4 that have most of my volume, and I have 25 managers. Depth is stability. A recruit is not a recruit until they have a recruit. Width is profitability. So the thing about it is a nice even keel on how to utilize this business. But I never missed on resources on either production or recruiting. When I decided I was going to recruit, I don't care. Listen, no results. If I had action, goes back to celebrating the base hit. You have enough base hits, you're going to have a home run. So a lot of people on this call, Chris, focus on the results. And this goes back to mindset. This goes back to the vision of the company. It's not the results, guys. The results are the byproduct of the process. So if you get on the phone with Chris and Chris starts asking you questions about where you're at with activity and where you're at with this and where, it's not because he wants something from you. He wants something for you. He knows that if you have this part locked down, this part, you're going to be amazing. The results will come. The results will come. So when I think about the equity appreciation rights, man, like what this company is doing, my mind is absolutely blown. So here's the thing, guys. In this industry, it's crazy because you hear about companies coming in and there's people that will come in and flux a bunch of income into a business, and the business starts thriving. And a lot of these companies outside of Symmetry, they took those things and let somebody come in and invest a lot in the business, and they didn't let any of their people that help and continue to help build the future of the company be a part of it in any way. And you know what these owners did? These owners said no. These owners said, I bet on you. Not only these owners go, you know what? We're going to give a gift grant for all the people that decided to make an impact and go back last year and give this, equity appreciation rights on all the work that you guys did. But we're not even we're going to start off. We're going to get, year after year. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, year after year. I have people just as an agency owner, Chris, based on what we think the evaluation and where this company could possibly go. That's like this company is gonna have more millionaires created without having the cost of the capital of the business. So can you imagine making $1 million, but there's no cost to it on the business side because you've already done the work? So you guys that are brand new, you should be crushing this thing. Like this is like double production years, like between now and the end of the year. We listen again, you can't measure, you cannot measure what you guys don't manage, right? You can't manage what you don't measure. Works both ways. You gotta measure it. If you guys don't know where you're at, that's a goal. You guys should have a daily goal. You should have a monthly goal. You should have a yearly goal. Like, guys, I am so revved about this because I have always wanted to be a part of this, Chris. I want to be part of something that was going to be such an impact for our family, the agency, the company, and this company bet on us. This company bet on us. So how excited I am about this equity appreciation rights, guys. If you're not pushing for that, you need to text Chris, text your leaders, and be like, if you are excited about it, and say, what do I need to go get me some? Because if God, like, no matter where it goes, but can you imagine being part of something like an Amazon early on, or part of that? Like, I never thought this is even possible. And you guys right now are in the foundational part. So here's the thing. You're either going to sit on back of your heels and you're going to wonder, right? You're going to wait for something beautiful to happen, or you're going to make something happen. And you're going to be a part of it. And you're going to bring a set of characteristics and grind and work effort that is going to bring a completely different level to this company, because the growth is not coming from Chris and I. The growth is coming from the people that are on this call. So build. Why? Because I was not going to take the success of somebody that I thought would or would not do good in this company. Here's my mindset. I qualify in, I don't qualify out. I qualify in. Chris, I get it wrong. Chris, I yet can pick it. Chris, can you pick it? Can you look at somebody go? Can you look at somebody and be like, yep, this girl's gonna be amazing. Yeah. I was so far off of what that looks like. So my theme is I qualify in. My job is just to make sure that I help, that I talk to at least 20, 25 people a week. And at the end of the day, I get 5 packets back a week. That's what I'm striving for. That's what my agency owners are striving for. That's what key leaders are striving for, or individuals striving for. And the biggest thing is you got to start. If you come off this call and you want to make an impact, you want a multiplication impact, something that is going to, like what I made in a year, I'm making a month now. I don't care. Listen, it's not about the money now. I get to help and impact. My wife and I last year, Chris, really big for us. We went into Walmart. I don't know if I've ever told you this story or not. We went into Walmart, and we wanted the year before to actually help the people on layaway for Christmas. Like, we're big givers. We don't do a lot of shopping. And we went to Walmart and we missed the deadline for that, because I guess it's like December 9th, because everything gets back on the shelf and all this stuff. And I had no idea. So last year we walked in an hour before they closed, went to 2 separate Walmarts, and there was 60 bicycles and like presents and all this stuff anywhere. We were able to help 52 families close accounts. Nice. 52 families. And the bicycles. Like awesome. That is what I'm in it for. That is what I'm driving for. I want to give more. That's what I want to do. So whatever that why is for you guys on this call, you need to have such a strong why that's going to get through it. Because if you have such a strong why with a healthy, growing mindset, you're going to change your perspective, and you're going to be able to change from sitting still to running at walls. Guys, there's a wall in front of you. I don't care if you got to go around it, under it, over it, through it. I talk about John Maxwell. Guys, the biggest thing is on a freight train going 55 miles an hour, you could bust through a steel force, 6-foot steel force brick wall. But when that train is sitting still, if you're sitting on this call and you're not consistent on calls, Chris, you don't reach out to your uplines, you don't buy leads, you don't do, like, if you're not doing the system, you're sitting still on this train and you got this little tiny 6-inch brick sitting in front of the front wheel, you're not going anywhere. That thing can actually stop a train from moving. So you guys got to sum all this up. And so the last thing I want to talk about, because I know we're way over, is we talked about the investment in the business and mindset. We did that. What else, man? Well, I feel like I'm an open book. Is there anything that the leaders or anyone on the call that if you want to jot a question in a thing you got for me? Listen, we're over. So let's bring the heat. I call this coffee talk
Yeah, I
because
like it.
I'm not done giving, Chris.
I
I'm
like
not
it.
done giving.
Well, I opened up the chat line if anybody wants to type in any questions if you've got. But I just really love your talk on perspective, right? Because I do think with the proper perspective in this business, people can get whatever they want, right? Because my perspective always just like if we break it down to just perspective on leads, it's like when I got in this industry, I was blown away. Is like, so let me get this straight. So they're going to pay me $500 to help a person. This was my perspective. And they're requesting me to help them. And then I asked him, Ryan, I was like, so is there a limit on how many times I can do that?
Right.
and that was my perspective, because I'd never been in sales. Like I was very naive. Like I had never run my own business. I'd always hoped to run my own business. I always wanted to do that. But my perspective was, and he was like, yeah, but some of them will tell you no. And I was like, oh, I figure they will. But I was like, but you're telling me once again, you're telling me they pay me $500 every time I help one of these on average? And he said, yep. And I said, and once again, just to make sure, you're not going to limit how many times I can do this, are you?
Yeah. Chris is like something's falling. So here's an idea. Like, here's a thought on perspective too. Like when you're building an agency, right, and you're making an impact, so people get caught, and this is just like an early on mistake where they're living on the success that they built 90 days ago. Like they're not doing the activities right anymore. They quit building. They quit with the resources. They're not doing interviews. They're not reaching out, but they still have writers that are popping up, and they go, you know what? We're doing great. We're doing fine. But that's actually, listen, if it took you 3 months to build an agency, it'll take you 3 months to lose an agency because you're growing or dying. So the thing about it is perspective is when the things are coming in, you got to remember it's consistency and persistency. So like if you miss a week in building, it's like a month, 90 days down the road. So that's why you see this. You see this a lot. Instead, I'd rather see this. I'd rather see my valley, but my valley is getting higher and higher because I'm not stopping with my action. I have an action plan in step. I have numerically, I track everything. I know what's going on with the amount of recruits. I know the amount of people that are wanting to build agencies. I got their goals. Like all that stuff's important. Somebody asked in the chat bar, what kind of franchise? It was a direct buy franchise. It was a building and remodeling franchise. They've been around since 1973. They had 173 locations nationwide.
Yeah.
So you can ask some questions, man. It looks like there's some questions I can't see.
Yeah, I got a question for you from Elijah. As a leader, how do you perfect leading and inspiring people older than you? Elijah is a young leader in our organization. He's 23. And so that's a question for you from Elijah.
All right, you ready? Nick and Patty Compatore. Have you seen that name on a leaderboard? Older couple, husband and wife. They're direct to Grant Lieber, who's like 25 years old. 25 years old. Grant Lieber led from the front. This is really important, guys. Like this is really important. You, as a leader, you lose influence with the people on your team because it goes from you helping them, like wanting them for, like being an inspiration to going into a managerial. Like I went from managing people to managing momentum and helping the people that were already motivated. So like they looked at the things I was doing, success, which is what I did in my base shop. So here's an example. You know how you motivate somebody that's older? Okay. Is that you go out there and do things that they want to achieve. I'm always asking what their why is, what they want out of it. And just because this has this future, it doesn't matter how old you are, You want to build a retirement. You want to build a passive income where it's not listed on your feet, where burnout's not on your shoulder. And you need to go out there and do something where your people tend to look like, here's one of the thermometers I look for. When I'm hearing their people talk about them, like the leader, thermometer check. Man, Grant's doing a lot of recruiting. Man, his base shop. That's what listen, guys, I'm doing my 4th base shop. We built a base shop and we're running $77,000 up into this last week. But guess what? 6 months ago, it was at 11 grand. 11 grand all month. So I know that you can create influence. It's not about age. It's not about age. What's about is what you're showing. It's not about what you did yesterday. This is not all your success in the past. It's what you're bringing to the team. Are you guys plugging in the calls? Are you reaching up to Chris and going, Chris, how can I help be a part of these calls? What can I do? Can I jump on a hub? Like, what can I do for the team? Like, what are you doing to increase your leadership blanket? Because when you see that, you become a person of influence. You're not going to have to try to change the perspective of somebody that's older, that's under it. They're going to want everything you got about it. They're going to thrive for it.
Love that, buddy. Another great question here. This is from the Davises. When you talk about investing in your team, what does that look like? Lead match, new recruits, any specifics that you can share there?
All right. So here's my perspective on I talked about this on leader call. You have to make deposits before you make withdrawals. So what happens is if you try to make withdrawals, so as a new leader, if I'm texting my new people going, hey, where are you at with appointments? How's your week going so far? That's not no one wants that as a first text message, guys. No one. I don't care who you are. Listen. Yep. I'm in West Coast, and you're texting me, and you're giving me an ultimatum, or you're like, I feel like you're managing me like this. How about we start off with, I start off every text message, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. How things going? How are you? I'm always doing that because we have to have the ability to slow things down. Slow things down. Really important, because when you get into investing in your business, here's the thermometer that I use. If I'm building a business and my production, meaning my revenue, I'm not decreasing my spend in recruiting, I'm increasing my machine. I look at this as a recruiting machine. You got to be the machine until you can buy the machine. What does be the machine mean? Maybe I'm the grease on the machine. Maybe I'm the grease wheel. And so maybe when I came in early on, so let's say I'm building a team, I got the revenue coming in, so I start getting some passive income. I'm not looking at this spend anywhere else. I'm spending it back in my business. And I go, okay, now I got more money to invest in building. What am I going to do? Well, I get a couple people in my lower shop, and they show potential. It's a brand new guy. He wants to recruit. Things are real tough financially. He's dying to recruit. He's dying to. But he's working his butt off. It's just he's not far enough in his first month or 2 months to start generating a lot of revenue so he can do it himself. What do? I'll increase my ZipRecruiter account. I'll get either one of two things. I will either have that person to start off with do first interviews, to tee up second interviews on my resource, where I do the second interview and it's their people. They're listening to me on that call on how to do it. So they learn. And after a week, we transition where they can do their first interview. They still be helping with the resource, for an example, a little bit with a timetable on it, because again, it's not forever. It's a timetable because I'm just creating the momentum. I'm getting the train going. He's putting sweat equity in. They start moving. And now all of a sudden I go, okay, he's going first interview. Now what can I do? I want him to do nothing but second interviews. Now my recruiters are getting so good. I got a lot more interviews. And now I go, okay, I either can sprinkle those out a little bit, or I could sit there and go, you know what? I want to take you off first interviews and I want you to do nothing but second interviews. But here's the deal. In order to do that, you're going to do more second interviews, and I want you to get more production, because I want you to get more time spending time with family. So it's creating more cash flow. He's getting real good at second interviews. So when I say, hey, listen, we're transitioning in 30 days or 90 days, and this is what I expect to see, this is what we're looking at. Not only they have plenty of cash flow, they got plenty of time in the business of actual conditioning, Listen, 300 said it best. Listen, 300. Love that movie. Ready? 300 said it best. You want to sweat. You want to sweat the most in practice so you can bleed the least in battle.
Love that. Love it, man. And then be the machine till you can buy the machine. I love that too, man. Yeah,
You guys gotta want to do it. And the thing is, if you guys don't know, like even with that question, some of those questions, they should call you and say you guys should text on this string, or like text Chris after this saying, Chris, I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to be a part of Impact. I'm ready. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna use it as listen, motivation and excitement is only gonna get you so far. You got to put an action plan. You actually got to put your feet to work and say, Chris, I need a plan. Every plan is not the same, because every person's not the same. I don't coach everyone the same, but the system is the same. I lean on everything that can offer, and that includes my upline. Listen, you guys are in the middle of the rainforest and you're just hacking away at the machete. You don't know what inventory to buy. You don't know how to set it up. You just start. Tell Chris, hey, listen, I'm willing to do some first interviews. Tell Chris, hey, I want to do some. Tell Chris I want in, because the impact that you're going to have helping other people achieve their results helped me look at Miranda Martin, who didn't think when she got in here 2 years down the way that she was going to have life-threatening health stuff, where she's spending 9 months out of the year between ambulances and stuff, and she can't physically work in the business right now, but her income still goes.
Yeah, powerful, man.
What else you got, man?
So here's one that I thought was another question. What was your work-family balance like as you were initially building to key leader and then agency owner? Initially, this is Ryan Miller going back, 5 years ago, just started. What was your work-family balance like as you were initially building to key leader and agency owner?
All right, so work, when you say balance, here's the thing: you got to get out of balance before you go in balance. This is important. They talk about time and money. Okay, here's what I knew. Like my brother Carl came in, worked his butt off, but he never missed a football game or a gymnastics meet ever again. He made sure that all the work was compressed and was able to get that done. The reason why we feel like it's out of sort, like if you're feeling that, is because we don't compact our schedule. That means your schedule, like if you guys haven't emailed Chris or your upline what your quote unquote schedule is going to be, like what your symmetry schedule, and that includes schedules, everything, guys. My personal time's in my schedule, everything's in my schedule, because you're either a product of your environment or you're creating your environment. So this is how you get the most out of it. The old system used to be we dialed on Friday and Saturday, we were in the field Monday, Tuesday, with rollover on Wednesday, right, Chris? Well, now we can run this business 7 days a week. So it doesn't mean I take that and I spread it out. I compact it. I do, like for a lot of our people, they'll do 5 appointments on Monday, 5 appointments on Tuesday, 5 appointments on Wednesday, and their balance of their week is recruiting. It's all recruiting, because you cannot multitask in this way. You cannot do two things at 100%. So whatever you're doing, be present at it. That means include family. This is a big takeaway. The balance end. They told me I spent 19 years in corporate America. They said I was going to gain everything. I felt like I lost everything. They told me if I put my head down for 2 years, my life was going to forever change. It did. So the thing about it is, I had to become one with my schedule. And this is the big thing on the balance side. You got to learn to be able to disappoint the right person. When you're out of balance, you got to learn to disappoint the right person. Here's what I mean by that. So I had a real big challenge when I had this becoming a bigger agency, where I felt like I always had to be there and answer the phone for every agent. I just had to, if I could do it, I could do it. Well, here's the thing. That works at a very small level, but when you have lots of people, it's not going to be physically impossible. It's not going to be possible. So at nighttime, I always said to my wife, nighttime is my family time. So 6:30 to 8, I see my daughter at night. I put her to bed. I see her an hour in the morning. It's in my schedule. And that's my weekday. But here's the thing. I have an agent that says it's super important. I need you. And then all of a sudden now I got thing. It's 7 o'clock at night. I'm supposed to be having dinner with my family and watching my baby. Have you guys been caught We're going, honey, I just can't do it right now. I'm just too busy. What did we do right there? We said the agent was more important than what you said to your wife and kid, that you made a promise to them on balance. You made a promise in that one part of the schedule that you were going to be present. I got to learn to disappoint the right person. So I'll let the agent know, let's catch up tomorrow morning. Because nothing that they're going to say is going to change, where it's an emergency that's going on right now. And I have managers and leadership and perspective. So you're going to feel out of balance, guys. You're going to. But if you feel so out of whack, like you're spinning 100 plates, I'll tell you that you guys need to get with Chris about your schedule. You need to get with your leadership on schedule. You need to email them your Excel spreadsheet on your schedule, because he can compact it and say, here's what we need to do when. And you just need to be disciplined, guys. You got to act like you own your own business, because you do. You're either a business of one or a business of hundreds. But if you can't manage your schedule, then what you do is you wake up in the morning and say, Chris, I wonder how my day is going to go. I let my day go based on phone calls and what things pop up. I don't know. You're not as productive that way. So if you want to get really good at balancing building and production, have a schedule. You want to get balance in building, production, leading yourself, leading others, and then leading leaders, you got to have a schedule, because that schedule, I can learn to put warm touches in my schedule. I can learn to put certain like team calls in schedules. And I can learn to make sure no matter what, I am not going to steal from the symmetry system. I don't care how big of a house you guys want to build on. I don't care what color of the walls that you guys want. Guess what? We're all going to start with the same foundation, because we're not going to build this thing on quicksand. So if you haven't started with your schedule, if you don't have your resources, if you don't have your mindset, guys, listen, what are we doing? You're hoping for success. Let's not hope for success. Let's plan for success.
Love it, man. I love it. Well, one thing I don't want to do is disappoint your family and not get you back to them in time, because I know you are.
Listen, I'm sorry, guys. I could just keep going. I love you guys. I got another call here in half an hour. And I do need to go see my daughter.
That's right. About to say.
Anything else, Chris? I'm sorry, man.
No, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to disappoint your daughter and your family, buddy. I want you to know you've made a huge impact in our business today and our family. And I appreciate you so much, buddy, for the example you set and the family man you are, buddy. We appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Hey,
please
you
tell
too,
them all our
guys.
love.
And if anybody needs me, find me on Facebook. I'm willing to help out anyone. I don't care about it's not about the money connection. It's about connection and relationships, guys. Relationships matter. People come first. That's what this business is about. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you, Cook
buddy.
Agency. You guys keep rocking it, dude. I'll talk to you guys later.
Sir.
All right. Bye now.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, buddy. Bye.